Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. My name is Steve Murray. I'm with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. We're going to talk today about a really brand new added to IAMS product line with Unity Financial. We've done a lot of business over the years and probably will continue to do a little business with National Guardian with very similar products on the funeral trust and estate trust side. We're going to have with us, fortunately for us, a producer in the field that has had many years of experience working in this marketplace and was kind enough to take some time here to join us, not only to walk us through the product, but also talk a little bit about the sales opportunity and the sales approaches that he uses. So going to be a great webinar this afternoon. As always, we're going to start, there's going to be a couple of polls that will pop up, which is great. The quicker you can hit yes, no on those, for me, the better. Don't be concerned about hitting a no. If it's something that's not of interest, just let us know that. And finally, if it's something that is of interest, be sure and check that as well. If you have some questions, just type them in, hit send, and we'll get them asked and answered as quickly as we can. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the things that we do here at IAMS that might be beneficial to you. And I'm going to zip through this pretty quick. There will be some questions that get developed on this. That's great. By all means, what I'd ask you to do is type them in or just give me a call. Before we're all done here, I'll chat you my email address and my direct phone number so you can have a conversation with me about any of the IAMS features and things that we do along the way as well. So looking forward to a great webinar with everybody. It's probably going to be about a 45 to an hour webinar in total. So buckle up, going to be a lot of great information, and we're especially pleased to have with us John Enting, one of your fellow top producers out there, is going to give us some great ideas. So here we go. Want to make sure you're all aware. I'm looking at our list here, and I see we probably have 8 to 10, 15 folks that of our group here today that are relatively new with us. I know we've got a lot of people that haven't even made the decision to contract with us, but we've got a pretty decent group of folks that are new with us. For you folks, over the next 180 days, you can take advantage of any of these new producer bonuses and features that we have here that can help you grow your business. What I want to say as you're looking at that on your screen is that if there's something else that you're doing, you can kind of feel like what about a cash equivalent is there. If there's something else that you're doing or something you want to try that you would rather do in lieu of these, we're glad to do that as well. We want to help you grow your business the best way that you can and we can together. So if there's something else you want to try, let your sales director know or give me a call and I'll be glad to walk through that with you as well. We've got a couple of business builders that you need to know about, and many of you have already taken advantage of these. Almost everyone on today takes advantage of marketing reimbursement, and many of you have taken advantage of the referred producer program. In fact, that's really the biggest checks that we send out right now are really via that program. We send them out generally quarterly. Some of those go out on a monthly basis, but it's a simple program. Our referred producer money is very simple. You refer a colleague, they like what we do, they get appointed with us, they do business, we pay you a bonus. None of that comes out of their pocket. It comes out of our advertising budget. Marketing reimbursement, really another simple program. Anytime you do business with us, money goes into your marketing reimbursement account. As you do advertising things to build your business, you just send us a receipt and we match your spend dollar for dollar. We've got a really great back office. I'm just looking at the group, and thank you, by the way. I know middle of the day here, kind of for a lot of folks. We have a huge contingent of you here, so thank you all for joining us. Many of you are aware of what we do on the back office side, and I can talk about service all day long. I really think that in order to benefit and to see the benefits of having really first-rate back office support, you need to feel it. But I'm going to tell you that I get a lot of great feedback from our guys and gals that do business with us regularly, how important and how beneficial that is. So hopefully, if you've done some business with you already felt it. If you haven't yet, give us a shot. We'd love to show you what we can do for you, save you time and keep you doing what you want to do, which is out there with potential clients selling. E-apps, we got lucky here. We put Firelight as a single sign-on on our website. What that means is you go to our website, you could sign on and go to e-apps with most of our annuity carriers. So it saves you a lot of time up front of searching website to website to website. Besides that, if you're doing business with multiple carriers, for instance, on the same client, you can do just a kind of a cut and copy, and you can basically fill two applications out at once. Or if you have to come back for whatever reason or redo an app, you've got that information saved in that Firelight. If you're redoing it with another carrier, that information is on our Firelight. So it saves you that time there as well. If you haven't done e-apps yet and you're thinking of what's the benefit to me, again, it's kind of like our service. The only way you really feel it is to use it, try it. And everybody that I talk to is, the first one's kind of a pain. The second one's a little bit bit of a pain. And then after that, they're like, gosh, how did I ever use papers and pens? And I think it shows a little different kind of level of professionalism to your client. It makes your life a lot easier. You always have the right forms, which is nice. You always have the most updated forms. When I wrote my first app back in 1985, my first annuity app was a brochure, tore it off of the app was like a third of a legal size brochure. And I tore it off and I put the client's name. I did a check and did a replacement form, and that was the full. And forms hardly ever changed. Now, unfortunately, they change daily. Now you got these new NAIC models coming in, and forms are changing all the time. So to have access to those forms via the eApp solution can make your life much easier. Keeps us and you from having to double check the forms and ended up with the wrong forms and having to go back out to the client. So an eApp platform like Firelight, which is the most accepted in our part of the in the insurance realm, and to have that easily accessed through our single sign-on on our website, I feel fortunate that we got lucky with our timing on that, but it really is because I feel like it's a great service to you out in the field. So hopefully you take advantage of that. If you're not, we're doing a little kind of incentive for that right now. Give us a call and I'll walk you through that. So creative marketing, just think of that as it's an advertising firm in-house that is for our producers. So whatever you can think of that you might say, hey, I might need some help with, building this flyer, putting this website together, doing something on Facebook, or putting a post out there. They do all that, and they do all that for people just like you. They make their living selling insurance products every day, financial products every day. So they've got a level of expertise on just the advertising part of it, but they have that extra level of expertise on our products that could really save you a lot of time and effort and make your life so much easier. And I get, again, really good feedback. I just talked to one of our regular producers today, and he said, hey, I had a form that someone had given me and I needed to get it personalized. I needed to look a little bit different for what I was wanting to accomplish. I sent it over to them, like an hour later, I get it back all gussied up and just better than I thought it was going to be. He said it was like magic. And I say that all the time. What those folks do over there is like magic, and let them work that for you. And, again, a lot of that is pro bono. A lot of it is at our cost. It's all going to be at our cost, but a lot of it's done with marketing reimbursement dollars. So it really doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. It's a great way to make sure that your image is as prevalent as you want it to be and looks the way that you want it to look. So take advantage of your own personal advertising firm here at IAMS. Great website. Again, Firelight's out there. We've got a nice search tool for annuities out there where if you're looking for the best MIGA for an 82-year-old in Kentucky with on a 5-year basis, it'll search all that stuff for you and make your life a lot easier. If you're looking for the best income, or if you're looking for the best accumulation, that search engine is out there. Now that's what we use a lot of times when you call in and you say, hey, what's the best deal right now in this, and we'll go on there and look for it for you. So we're glad to do that for you as well, but it's available 24/7 on our website. Same thing on the life side. We've always had that on the term side. We've got that now for some cash value products as well. Great sales tools available to you on Sales Resource Library. If you haven't looked at the Sales Resource Library under the support section of our website, I'd encourage you to do that. A lot of really good stuff out there. And the website's got a lot of really valuable, beneficial tools for the independent producer. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that. You do have to register, which takes about a minute, but there's some really good stuff out there. If you have any questions about how it can benefit you, call your sales director up and just say, hey, walk me through that. This is what I do. What things out there might be helpful for me, just to save yourself some time and make sure you're taking full advantage of being efficient with your time. If you're not using a program like the Retirement Analyzer, I recommend it highly. The Retirement Analyzer isn't the only one out there. It's the only one that we support. The reason that is so is because we think the input side of it is as good as there is for the output that you get. So it's kind of an equation there, as you can see. But in terms of what information I'm putting in there, and then what I get out in terms of beneficial information shown in a very in the clearest light possible to my client, we think this is the best. So we support it. And the way that we support that is that we pay for it for our producers. So if our producers are using it, we're going to take care of the fee for you. And even if you're not producing with us once, you haven't produced with us yet, and you want to try it for 30 or 60 days, we'll make it available to you. Again, it's at our expense. And try it out. Pick out an A, B, or C client, or do one on yourself and see how it comes out. And what you'll see is, hopefully what you think is, boy, how could I use this with a client that might, show them, how maybe they're not quite right on their tolerance risk doesn't match up to their portfolio. Maybe they're short on, that long-term care part of their portfolio that they really thought they had taken care of or hadn't even thought much about. It kind of puts that in red for you so you can show them graphically. There's a lot of things there's a lot of sales opportunities that it will reveal for you, and it'll lock your client into year to year because you update this as their goals and investments and things change. So really nice. And Marcus here handles that. I'll chat his email out to you, and if you want to get a peek at that, you can just email him and say, hey, Marcus, let me give you a free look at that retirement analyzer. If you're a producer with us and you need some help through the system, he'll help you with that as well. Really good stuff. IAMS Wealth Management. So we have a RIA here at IAMS, and I'm just going to do a quick poll while I'm talking about this. It's just going to take a minute. Hopefully I will. Let's see. So I don't have the poll for that. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to ask you to talk to your sales director, and if you have interest at all. So if you currently have your Series 65 and you're maybe not happy with the level of service or level of assistance you're getting from your RIA, I would say that'd be a good reason to call the folks over at IAMS Wealth. If you're thinking about getting your 65 and you need some help with that, they're really good at that. We've helped a lot of our guys that came from the insurance side to get that 65 and grow their business. And to a man and woman, they've all been very appreciative of the ability to add that to their to what they offer now to their clients, and how that's expanded both their wealth management business, obviously, but also their insurance business. So it's something I would highly recommend. DOL's coming back at us again, and I think it's going to be, you're either going to have somebody you refer that business to, or you're going to have to do it yourself. We'd love to help you do it yourself, is the bottom line. If we can help you with that, again, give your sales director a call and have them walk you through it, or put you in touch with the folks over at IAMS Wealth. Hope you're all planning to join us. We're going to start off in Rome, and we're going to cruise down the Italian coast, Sorrento. We're going to go to Sicily. Eventually, we're going to cross over, go to Greece, Kotor, Dubrovnik. I'm like, why are we going to Dubrovnik? But people that have been there tell me that that's going to be like the highlight of the trip. That's in Croatia, of all things. But that's going to be a great cruise. We'd love to have you join us. Plenty of time yet to qualify. We got like 14 months of qualification left on that, and it only takes 4.5 million points, which is dollar for dollar annuity. We give you about 11 points for your life business, life target business. We give you about 1.5 points for every dollar of single premium life premium that you do. So it's very, very doable, and it's going to be a great cruise for you and your guest. Everybody is going to be on the concierge level. Everybody's going to have a balcony. It's going to be great just to kind of watch the coastlines go by you when you get up in the morning, when you go to bed at night, and you're all going to be on the concierge level, which a little higher level of service. We'd love to have you join us on what I know you're going to enjoy, and be a experience of a lifetime for you. So it takes 4.5 million. Again, call your sales director and say, what do I need to do? If you said to me today, hey, how can I don't do any annuity business, or do very little annuity business, but I want to qualify for that. We can help you do that. We can put you in front of some lead systems and opportunities that can get you where you want to be. So give your sales director a call and say, show me the way, because I want to be on that cruise with my guest come next next August, or August of 2020, not next August, but August of 2022. It's Labor Day weekend is when we return. So we'd love to have you join us. Like us and whatever, follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. There are some things available on our Facebook and our LinkedIn pages that you can't get other places. So I'd encourage you to follow us. It's beneficial for us, and it really is beneficial for you as well. If you have any questions, I want you to type them in for me, and I'll get them answered along the way here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to switch over, and I'm going to talk a little bit about John Enting. John has been a top producer with us for many years. We've really enjoyed a tremendous tremendous association for years. And the reason for that, from my standpoint, and hopefully a little bit also from John's standpoint as well, is it's been a mutually beneficial relationship. And the way it's been beneficial, I think, for John is that, we've given him the type of service and the products that he needs to be successful. And the way it's been beneficial for us with John, maybe more than most, is that John has been really good about sharing with our other producers some of the things that have helped him be successful over a long and successful career. So it just, from our standpoint, we can talk about things, but producer to producer, we believe is really the only true way that there's the best, most efficient benefits given. And John has been really good about doing that. And when you hear John go through the opportunity with Unity, I think you'll agree that hearing how a producer positions things, products, and how he talks to his clients can really help you grow your business, can help you, and so much more beneficial. So we appreciate John's ongoing assistance with our funeral trust business, and I think you're going to hear some really great stuff here right now. We're proud to be associated with Unity. We've put this partnership together about 2 months ago because we had an issue that needed to be resolved a little bit in terms of commission and product availability and things like that they have been a great fit for us. So between having a great producer and having John join us, we think it's a great combination. I'm certainly very pleased that you joined us today, and I'm going to turn the platform over to John Enting.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. I don't see the screen where I can control it. You got that for me?
Yep, I just turned it over to you. So try and move your mouse, and I think you'll see. And then if you, it's down in the bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. Well, I appreciate that. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for taking your time out of your business today to learn about Unity Financial. As Steve said, I am in the field. I have a couple offices here in Columbus, Ohio. I'm not a home office employee, and I think that gives a different perspective when you have your boots on the ground and you're dealing with the people that we're dealing with on a daily basis. Unity Financial, like Steve said, is going to be a great partnership for us. So today, as we move along, let's make sure I get this right here. What we're going to cover today, we'll talk a little bit about why we're using Unity Financial. We'll talk about the opportunity that exists in the marketplace today. And we'll also talk about the trust that they provide for us to hold the asset, to give us some asset protection, the product we use to fund that trust. And at the end of the presentation, I'll give you some ideas and tools that we've actually implemented in our business as we went along that has proven successful for us on the funeral expense and the estate planning trust side. So why Unity Financial? They're a B++ rated company. They've been family owned and operated since 2011. They're very good in the irrevocable funeral trust and estate trust business. Their focus is on helping people protect money from a Medicaid spend down, which is, basically giving all of your money to a nursing home when you get ill because you didn't do any planning when you were healthy. The product is guaranteed issue. There's absolutely no health questions on it, which is refreshing because if you do the work and you get a client, you're going to get the contract issued, you're going to get paid. The application, very simple. I'm going to go through that with you. It's literally one page in your state replacement form. I'm going to today, for the sake of time, I'm only going to talk about single premium. That's all we use here at Enting Financial Services, and I'll go over with you why we do it the way we do it. We'll talk about 1035 exchanges and how they're accepted into the program and what your client's perception of their current life insurance is, and then what the reality of their life insurance is. And again, it's hard to argue with Unity on their commissions. They do a great job with the commission structure. So their financial stability, you can see here, their 10-year asset growth over 300%, their return on equity over 10%, and they just went through the AM Best rating again, and they are provided the stable outlook B++ rating. So here's a little look at their assets for you versus their liabilities. The thing I look at is any business person would be those assets have increased by 461% since 2007. Again, we want to be with a company that's focused and growing, and I think we've hitched to the right wagon there. So today, to talk about this planning, we're all in the planning business. I don't care if you're helping your clients plan for income or plan for long-term care, whatever that type of planning you practice. Uh, you've got to really ask some questions and dig deep, because we all know there's things that might happen, right? Our house might burn down, we might get in a car wreck, we might get sick. But there is the inevitable, and the inevitable is going to be when someone passes away. And so I'll share with you a little story just about myself. And I'll tell you that there's two ways to plan for someone's demise, and that's either go to a funeral home and prepay and pre-plan the funeral, or take the final expense route in getting your planning done. And the reason I say that's important, I have a personal story about that. I'm the youngest of 5 children. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2 years old, so I wasn't really close with my father, but I've always been the entrepreneur of the family. And so anytime there's anything good or bad that's important, usually I get a phone call. And that happened to me on January 21st of 2011. I got a phone call from my sister telling me that my father had passed away. And what I also found out was the very next day I was sitting in a funeral director's office, and that funeral director was asking me questions like, what was your dad's mother's maiden name? What was his highest rank in the military? What's his favorite flower? Who's his pallbearers? I had no clue on any of this information. And as sad as that was to me, what it made me realize quickly was all of these plans that we had done with the funeral trust planning for our clients. I knew our clients weren't going to have to go through what I was going through in that moment. So, they always say when there's something bad, you can take something good from it. That's what I took from that losing my father was I'm a good planner, and I help people not be put in a position that I was put in myself. So again, we're going to talk about that final expense side as we move along here today. So the first thing that we want to ask a client when we're talking to them about this is, how much do they think a funeral costs? And then we'll be quiet and listen to their answers. And you'll hear them all over the board. You'll hear them from $5,000 to $20,000. But the reality is, for a traditional funeral, you're looking at over $14,000. And that number actually recently, they did a study with the Funeral Directors Association, and that pushed that number up to about $15,500 on a traditional funeral. And then on a cremation, it was around $8,000. And the reason I say that to you is when you talk to someone about this product and they say, well, we don't need to put that much in, we're just going to have a cremation. Well, that's great. Are you aware what a cremation costs? And then we want to share that with them, because that's really the important thing. And then ask them, if something happened to you yesterday, how would that funeral be paid for today? And then the key there is just to really listen to what their answer is on that question, because it's going to serve you very well when you move forward and you start talking to them about the irrevocable funeral trust. So I thought this was really interesting. They did a national survey. 72% of the people thought it was a good idea to pre-plan their funeral, but 64% had not taken any steps to get it done. And we think the reason for that is a husband and a wife don't wake up on a beautiful sunny day and the husband rolls over and looks at his wife and says, hey, let's go down and pick our caskets out today. We know that doesn't happen. The human mind can only conceive its own demise for about 11 seconds, and then it moves right on down the road. And the one thing that I can assure you, because I've been doing this for quite a while, is that your clients are no different than the ones that we're dealing with on a daily basis. So again, we think it's very important to bring this up to them, because the one thing we know for sure is that somebody at some time is going to pass away. And we also have the data to prove to us that we've got a lot of people to talk to, because from 2010 until 2025, they were estimating 80 million people were going to file for Social Security benefits. And with that data, they also told us that by 2025, there's going to be almost twice as many seniors as there were in 2010. Well, we're in 2021 and those numbers are increasing. So our base of people to share this with, especially if we look at the numbers of the people who haven't acted upon it, it's a really big opportunity. So how do you start the conversation with someone about it? We've found that talking to them first about long-term care leads us to talking to them about the funeral trust. So we'll ask them a very simple question. Do you have any long-term care insurance or plans in place in case you would get sick and need care? Now, when we ask that question, we also know that 93% of all Americans don't have any type of protection for long-term care. So our odds are pretty good that they're going to tell us no. So what we'll say to them is, hey, if you don't have any of that protection for your assets, what's going to happen is when you get sick and if you have to pay for your care, they're going to put you into what they call spend down, which means you're going to have to start spending your assets on care until you become broke. And then when you become broke, Medicaid is going to step in. And that's the real key thing that we're going to focus with them on, is that many people who need long-term care are going to have to qualify for Medicaid. I can tell you, I just went through this with my own mother. She didn't have any planning done, and that's where we were at, and we had to spend down assets in order to get to that point. So it's a great conversation starter, because now you're going to be able to start talking to them about how to protect that money. So how does all of this fit together? Well, basically, we're using life insurance and we're going to combine it with an irrevocable funeral trust. So we're going to give them the money set aside, or they're going to put the money to set aside into this irrevocable funeral trust. Once that money's been put in there, it stays in there permanently until they pass away. And I'm going to say something right here on that. This is an irrevocable funeral trust. Any client that's ever done business with Inting Financial Services, when we do the plan for them, we tell them, hey, this is irrevocable. It only comes out when you pass away. Don't call us to borrow off of it. Don't call us to cash it in. You don't have any of those privileges. You are irrevocably setting this aside so the money is there down the road, but that it is protected today. So the protection comes from using the trust to hold the assets. And again, that's going to protect that asset for them when they go into the Medicaid spend down situation if they were to get sick. So let's talk about the trust itself. So the Unity Financial Trust, we're going to talk about the single premium. So in our state of Ohio, we can put up to $15,000 into an irrevocable funeral trust. It's going to give us 100% protection from Medicaid spend down. So it's not subject to that 5-year look back period that you've heard about before. When that money goes in there, that money's going to be protected. They're going to assign it to the Unity Financial Delaware Trust. And again, when the client passes away, that money's going to be paid out of the trust and paid directly to the funeral home. You're going to get some interest on the money. It's a simple growth rate declared annually and credited annually by the insurance company. On that note, this isn't about growth. This is about protection. So they're going to pay that funeral home first. Any remaining money is going to be returned to the estate of the insured, because we protected that money. And if there's any claims against the estate for recovery for care, any of those monies left over have to go back to the estate of the insured. Again, the irrevocable funeral trust is protected from the nursing home and long-term care facilities and creditors, and the benefits that get paid out at the time of death are all going to be tax exempt. So how does this compare against traditional savings instruments? What we're looking for is a yes in all the columns. And if you look across this, you can see of all those traditional savings instruments, even down to traditional whole life insurance, we're going to meet a yes in every one of those categories. And again, that's exactly what we're looking to do. So why is the irrevocable funeral trust a better choice? Again, that safety and security, you can be assured that that 100% of that money that you put in there is going to be there when your clients need it the most. Portable. You're not obligated to use a specific funeral home to provide your final ceremonies. Here's why I say that. I've got 5 grandsons. If my daughter said tomorrow her and her husband were moving down to Florida, I guarantee you my wife's going to be pressing me for us to follow them down there. If I went and prepaid my funeral at a funeral home here in Columbus, and then we all moved down to Florida, I might be in a bad situation because when I pass, maybe I don't want to be buried here in Columbus anymore. With this plan, it'll be accepted anywhere. So again, you're not obligated to choose any funeral services or merchandise ahead of the time of need, which goes back to that couple who's not going to wake up and want to go pick their casket out. And then in the event that you pass away, or when you pass away, the funds are available immediately. Well, why is that important? If you've been in this business for a while and you've sold a life insurance policy or an annuity and you've had somebody pass away, what do you have to do? You got to wait to get the death certificate. You got to file the claim paperwork. It's got to go through that process, and then you receive those funds. With 99% of funeral homes today, your money is payable on the day that you go in the funeral home to get the showing and the service started. So again, with this money, we know that it's going to be there immediately, paid directly to that funeral home within 48 hours, so that you can go on taking care of the things with your loved ones. So how does the trust itself work? Basically, what we're using is a life insurance policy. So I want to make a distinguish between the two. If you've been in this business a while and you know about a single premium life insurance policy, if you put 15,000 in it, they may give you 25,000 a death benefit and allow you access to your cash value. Well, because we don't want access to this money, what the insurance company at Unity is going to do, if we gave them $15,000, we may start out with a $15,075 contract. They're going to take that money, they're going to issue the policy. Once the policy's been issued, they're going to assign it 30 days after issue into that irrevocable funeral trust. That's where we're getting the protection at. That's where we're getting the interest credited at. Then once the client passes away, it's a very simple procedure. We've done many of these and we've had many clients die with them. And so what ends up happening is that the client's going to call us, we're going to call the funeral home that they're going to, we're going to get the funeral home's information, the contact person, the fax number, we're going to call Unity, we're going to give them that information, and then we're out of the picture. Unity is going to deal directly with that funeral home, and the funeral home does not have to provide a death certificate in order to get the funds, and that's what allows this procedure to move along quicker than a traditional life insurance policy. So let's look at a comparison of the two trusts that Unity offers. The first one is the Irrevocable Funeral Trust. We've got a lot of people on here, so you're probably from all over the country. So we'll put a little screenshot up here in a little bit of what your state's maximum are. Because in Ohio, we can put up to 15,000 into the Irrevocable Funeral Trust per person. It's going to be exempt. So when we put that money in there, it's going to get protected immediately. Again, those funeral costs are going to be paid first. Any excess money will have to come back to the estate of the insured. And that's why we're going to find out up front, are you having a traditional funeral or are you going to have a cremation? Because if you're going to be cremated, I don't want to put 15,000 in here and then you've got 8,000 bucks paid back to your estate. We want to do what's appropriate in the best interest of the client. Now, they also have a Unity Estate Planning Trust. That one you can put up to 85,000 in. So you can have a combination between the two of $100,000. So 15 in the Irrevocable Funeral Trust, 85 in the Estate Trust. generally after 5 years, it's excluded by Medicaid. So if you've got a client who wants to protect some money, they can put that money in there. And as long as they get through 5 years, then that money will 100% be protected from a nursing home spend down. Now, again, they're going to assign that policy to the irrevocable trust, but the difference will be you can name a beneficiary on this one. So whatever money is in the trust is going to be paid out probate free directly to the beneficiary. So something Steve didn't talk about in his introduction is that pre-COVID, IAMS does a lot of events for agents that they want to introduce the company to. And these are called agent academies. And so they fly in, they pay for your costs, they pay for your meals, and they have speakers like myself that will speak to the whole group over a couple-day period. One of the questions I inevitably get from an agent in these is, John, this is awesome, but how do I know what trust to use for what client? And so I'm going to break it down for you. If I were doing the funeral expense trust, I'm doing it first and foremost if I'm in a crisis planning situation. Let me give you an idea. I have a relationship with an elder law attorney that's about 2 blocks down from my office. It would not be out of the ordinary for him to call me today and say, hey, John, I've got this couple. We're going to try to get them qualified for Medicaid on May 1st. Can you come down and write $15,000 on each one of them and get $30,000 out of the estate? Yes, I can do that. It's a crisis. He's got a need. He's trying to get this done by the 1st of May. Maybe you have a client who they're paying for care for somebody right now, and maybe they'll have to go on Medicaid. Maybe they won't, but it's going to be within that 5-year period. This is a great way to get that money off of the table and get it protected from Medicaid. And then again, I'm a financial planner and a wealth advisor here in Columbus. So when I do public events and we have new clients come in, I will talk to them about this and say, hey, look, this is what our clients do. Because a lot of these clients, they just want to know the money's put aside and they got their affairs in order. Now, on the estate planning trust side, maybe you have clients that have money. Medicaid's a non-issue. Maybe it's 5 years from now or never. They're really not worried about it. But what they do want to know is that they have some money that they want to go to their children, a church, or a charity, and they want to make sure that if anything goes wrong in their life, that this money is protected. And that's the real opportunity, because this allows you to put up to $85,000 into this plan. Once they're through the 5-year look back period, that money can never be touched by creditors or nursing home spend down. So we'll talk about the product that we use to fund the trust itself. And this product is basically a life insurance policy. We're going to talk about the single pay. The minimum issue is $500. The maximum issue is $15,000. They can pay for it with a check. They can use a credit card, a bank draft. Its minimum issue age is 10 years old, but you can write it all the way up to 99 years old. Now, on the estate trust side, the minimum is going to be $2,000, maximum of $85,000. Again, same payment methods, but pay attention to the issue ages there. That one can only be written from age 50 to age 90. So what happens again? The single premium policy gets issued. It gets a factor of 1.005. So if you gave them $10,000, you're going to start with $10,050. You're going to get a simple interest rate credited annually to the program. So here's the policy growth rates. Now, let's talk first about the funeral trust on the right-hand side. Ages 10 to 80, it's 0.25%. 81 to 90, it's 0.05. Now, some agents will see this and go, whoa, that's a really low interest rate. Well, this isn't about growth. This is about protection of the money, and it's your job as the advisor to really hammer that point home with your client. Because, yeah, I can go over and get you a policy that pays you a 3% guaranteed interest rate for the next 5 years. But if you get sick and go in a nursing home, they're going to make you spend that money for your care. So did you really earn 3% on the money? No, you gave it all to the nursing home. Here, it's strictly about protection of the money, and you need to really make sure that you hammer that home with your client. Now, if you don't like paperwork, which I'm not a fan of, but I picked a real funny business to get into for a guy that doesn't like paperwork. But I want to tell you a little story about Unity. It's one piece of paper, that's the application, and then your state replacement form. Now, when I wrote my first annuity back in 1993, I wrote it on an owner of a dry cleaner in Marion, Ohio. Two things happened that day that astonished me to this day. The first thing was the application. It was 3 pages. The last page was the receipt that I left with the client. The second thing that astonished me, I could not believe that anybody would let me walk out with a check for $25,000. But now if you look and you're in this business, if you're writing a life insurance application or you're writing an annuity application or a long-term care application, these apps can be 30 to 40 pages. So again, this makes it very easy to do, and not only for you, but it makes it easy for the client as well. So here's what their application looks like. This is the front page of it. It's very simple. It doesn't even have a health question like we alluded to earlier. So you're just going to put the basic information. You're going to sign off on it. They're going to sign off of it. That's it. Have your state replacement form, have them sign that as well. Now, I'm going to go back to when I was talking about this elder law attorney. When he is in that situation where I only have 2 weeks to get this money into the irrevocable funeral trust for them, and I told you at the beginning of the presentation that once Unity issues the policy, it's 30 days before they put it into that irrevocable trust, that could be a problem. But what Unity has done is recognize that problem. So if you look at the bottom of this page here, you'll see that they allow you an immediate transfer. The client can sign off on it that, hey, we're doing planning. We want this in there as soon as it issues. Don't take the 30 days, issue my contract and put it into the trust. That's how I'm able to help in that crisis planning situation for a client. So we get this question at the Agent Academies. What does it cover, John? Well, if you look there, you can see that just about anything that you would be dealing with in a funeral or a cremation, it's got all of that covered for you underneath the plan. So this is everything that you can use to spend the money on. So again, if I were someone and we had this situation happen where they put in 15,000, but at the end of the client's life, the mom decided she wanted to be cremated. We had an extra of about 8 grand in there. You know, we're telling the client, hey, especially if you think Medicaid's coming back for the money, you know, get the nicest limousine, get the nicest hearse, keep your travel tickets if you're flying somebody in for the funeral, because we can get those paid for through the program. So let's talk about those states and what it looks like from maybe where you're at. So here's what the funeral trust limits are by state. As you can see, the majority of them are $15,000 that you can put into the funeral trust. Pennsylvania is by county. So if you run across the deal, or maybe you live in Pennsylvania, you can reach out to Unity. They can get you that information. But let's say that you were in Nebraska, where Insurance Agency Marketing Services is located at. And you can see on there, you're only allowed to put $4,978 into the irrevocable funeral trust. If it were me and I was dealing with that client and they said, hey, we're going to do a traditional funeral and we know it's $15,000, I'm going to tell them, hey, let's put the $4,978 into the irrevocable funeral trust. I'm going to get that protected for you immediately. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take the balance of that $15,000 and we're going to put it into the estate planning trust. Yes, it has a 5-year look back period on it, but that 5 years typically goes pretty quick. And if they're not ill at this point and needing care, the chances are we're going to get through that, and that's going to give them the total $15,000 that they need and give them the opportunity to have that balance protected when that 5-year period is up. So again, there's ways to work around it to make sure that you can get them what they need, even if your state limits are lower. So this is all awesome and great information, but how do we present this to the clients? How do we get people interested in talking about this and moving forward in the process? So when we have these agent academies, one of the first questions I always get is, do you have a lead program? We've spent thousands of dollars trying to create a mailer. We've done some other things. We just don't get the response that would warrant me saying to an agent, yeah, spend your money on this. It looks like you'll do well. So I tell those agents they already have those lead program. It's called an annual review. If you don't already offer this to your clients and you have a book of business, you have one of the best uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Lead generation systems that there is. And if it were me, the way I would start the conversation is I would call up and set up the annual review. And when I went in, I'd say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, would you agree that all the planning that I put in place for you previously has worked out the way that we thought it would? You know, they're going to tell you, yeah. Then you say, well, there's one thing that we haven't covered that was brought to my attention, and we're covering this with every client. I have a simple question for you. Have you prepaid your funeral? It's a yes or a no question. If they tell me no, I'm going to say, hey, we need to talk about this and let me explain to you why it's a wise idea for us to get this done for you. If they say yes, we've already went to the funeral home, we've prepaid, we've picked out our casket, then my next thing I'm going to say to them is, do you have any money in particular that you know you want to go to your grandchildren, your church, your charity, that you would like to know has the opportunity to be protected from ever being taken from a nursing home by a nursing home? And if they say, well, yeah, I'd love to leave 50,000 to my grandchild and know that I'm never going to spend it at the nursing home. Great. I'm going to talk to them about the estate planning trust. So you already have a built-in lead system. You just need to talk to them about it. But then you got to be able to present this. When I sold that first annuity back in 1993, I'll be quite frank with you, I barely knew what I was doing. Today, that was a $25,000 annuity. Today, if a client scoots a $500,000 annuity check across the table, we don't even think twice about it, right? It's not because we're smart, it's because of repetition. So as you present this and hone your skills and get better at it, obviously the easier it is going to become. But in its essence, it's simple. You're just going to stress those benefits of planning ahead. Tell them it can be used with any funeral home. You're not locked into one funeral home. And then here's the part I was telling you at the beginning about life insurance. 99% of your clients do not understand if they own a cash value life insurance policy, and let's say that policy has 10,000 of cash value and 12,000 a death benefit. They don't understand that when they die, they don't get both of those numbers. They only get the bigger number. So if they get the 12,000 death benefit, they really only have 2,000 in life insurance. That other 10,000 is their money in there. So what we will say to them is, yeah, you can leave that in there, but if you get sick and go to a nursing home, they're going to make you spend that cash value and you could lose your life insurance policy. Doesn't it make more sense to 1035 exchange this money into the irrevocable funeral trust and know with certainty and without doubt that that money is going to be there when your family needs it the most? And then closing the sale, that's what we get paid for, to give that client the peace of mind of knowing that they've got the planning done and they don't have to deal with it in the future. So where do you find the money? This is the beautiful thing. This is what we say to our clients. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, if we really think about it, we're not even buying anything today. We're repositioning an asset that you have that is countable in a Medicaid spend down situation, and we are moving it over to protect that money for you. So you're not buying anything. Heck, we don't even have a health question. So we're going to talk about where we're going to pull the money from to fund this program for you, and we're going to get it completed for you so that you and your family know when you need it the most that it's there. Now at Unity, once you're licensed through IAMS, you'll be able to go on their website. They've got great brochures, anything you would need to do business, track your business, look at commissions. You're going to be able to find all that information on there. I would highly recommend always leaving the client the funeral trust funding program brochure. It's written in layman's terms. I had a big deal I wrote off a client that was a current annuity owner of ours. I went out, I presented this to them. They had about 80,000 in cash value and a couple old life insurance policies. I went through my presentation. She looked at me at the end. She said, John, you've done business with us long enough to know We're not going to make a decision on the first appointment. We need to sleep on it. And I said to her, well, you've known me long enough that I don't have any problem with you doing that. But the best time to make a good decision is when you have all the information fresh on your mind. So I'm going to leave you this brochure. I want you to sleep on it. I'm going to call you at 1 o'clock tomorrow to get a decision from you. True story, 9 o'clock the next morning, my phone rang. It was them. We slept on it. We rode back through the brochure. Let's get together and get the deal done. So again, the brochure is a great leave behind tool, but this is probably the most important thing you'll do in this process. My mentor taught me to always leave a task to someone I've written an application on, because it keeps them engaged in the process and keeps that buyer's remorse out of their head. So what we do is we leave this planning guide that is provided by Unity. You can order them on their website. I would highly recommend it. And if I would have had this when my dad died, I would have been able to answer every question that funeral director asked me. As a matter of fact, what we will say to our clients with this is we will say to them, if you'll complete this while I'm getting your policy done at Unity, I'm going to bring your policy back. And if you put this with your policy, if I had never met you before and you died, I could walk in, pick up your policy, and this guide, take it down to the funeral director and take care of your funeral without ever meeting you. So all the information that's going to be needed, they can fill out in this guide. Again, their website's spectacular. You can get everything you need on it. Once you're licensed through IAMS, they'll get you set up. It's a great way to follow your commissions and your production, as well as any brochures and other information that you would need. So why get started with it? I always say, why not? You know, your clients are needing it and thinking about it. We showed you that. It's a great income opportunity. The trusts are free. There's no fees for that trust with Unity. The funds are totally portable. You're going to give the client that peace of mind. I love easy paperwork. This is the easiest in the industry. And then we're going to pay you some great commissions for going out, seeing your clients, doing the reviews, and get that done. And again, it's business that might be out there for you. So if you ask them about it, maybe you'll pick it up before somebody else does. So we want you to increase your bottom line with the compensation. We figure that you're in the insurance business for a reason. It's beautiful. It gives us time flexibility to go to ball games, spend time with our family. So I just figured if you're actually working 10 months a year, you meet with a couple couples a month that want to fund the program, you'll add $60,000 to your bottom line. That's $5,000 a month of income. And I don't think anybody's going to turn their back on that. So here's the commission schedule. If you take a look at it, let's say you go out and do a review. You've got two clients that are 66 to 70 years old. You articulate it, they want to do it. They put 30,000 in. You just made $4,000 for going out and doing a review with your client. And more importantly, you solved a problem they didn't even know they had. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you to get out there, make a good compensation, and do a good deed for your client. They have a fast start incentive once you're licensed through IAMS with Unity. They're going to give you a $200 bonus for your first $25,000 of face amount issued in the first 30 days. And all of this production is going to count towards that IAMS exclusive trip. I will tell you, I've never missed a sales conference with IAMS since I've been with them for 14 years. I don't know, it's been a long time. But one of the things my mentor also taught me was when you go on these trips, find the top producers, ask them what they're doing in their business. That's how I got to where I'm at, was finding the top guys, taking some of their ideas back and implementing them into my business. Because as you all know, we can all get excited when we hear something new, and that's awesome. But if you don't implement it, it's not going to mean anything to your business. So overcome those challenges. Remember, it's a simple question. Have you prepaid your funeral? Yes or no? We know they need the protection, and we're going to ask those clients, every client, every day, every time, every new prospect, we've got to ask them, have you prepaid your funeral? So when do I get paid? Their commission cutoff is on Friday. They reconciliate the business on Friday at noon. Monday, it's pushed out into bank accounts. You will usually see it on that Tuesday. Cash with apps, pretty obvious. And then you can track all your business on that website so you know when it's issued, paid, or if you missed something on the app. with that application, I don't know how you could miss anything at all. With this company, they give you direct access to all the company management. I showed you their marketing brochures, and again, you can go online to track your business. This might be one of the most important things that I'm going to share with you today. Once you're licensed through IAMS with Unity, they will make this available to you to be able to put your own company information on. But I'll tell you a little backstory of why I developed this guide for beneficiaries. I had a client, we had a $500,000 annuity on her. I got a call from her daughter. Mom passed away. I said, hey, go through your grieving, do everything you need to do, get the funeral done, but we're going to have to get together here in a couple weeks because your mom has a $500,000 annuity that you're the sole beneficiary of. And she said to me, oh, John, don't worry about that. We already talked to the banker guy this morning. He's going to handle all of that for us. And I realized at that point I lost a $500,000 asset because I didn't do my job. And so I created this guide for beneficiaries. We went out, we gave it to every one of our clients. Every one of our clients told us how appreciative they were that their kids were going to have this as a guide when they passed away. It allowed us to collect all new data with the financial organizer over a 6-month period of placing these in homes. We picked up $1.5 million of a new annuity premium, 200,000 of traditional single premium life, and about 150,000 of the irrevocable funeral trust money. And the reason for that, again, isn't because we're the smartest people on the block. It was repetition. We were very comfortable with the guide and what it represented to our clients, so we pushed it out to everybody. This is what it looks like. It says right on the top, for help settling my estate, please call my advisor at Inting Financial Services. We get about 1 or 2 of these calls every couple months. Our best one was at the end of last year. We got a call from a client. She said, hey, I have this from my dad. He said to make sure that I follow this and call you. True story. It was $1 million deal for us. We did all the business in one day at their home with them, but it was $1 million case because we left this in there and that daughter knew to call us when dad passed away. There's a nice letter that you, again, this can be all in your company stuff, the IAMS marketing team that Steve was talking about that can help you get that done, their creative team. But there's a nice letter in the front just telling them how we appreciate their business, how we work hard for them. Then we had the new financial organizer that we did. One thing we found out with the financial organizer is you may think your clients tell you everything. I'm going to tell you right now, I got $1.5 million in annuity premium in 6 months to prove they don't. So again, if you look at this question number 8, have you prepaid for your funeral? If they say no, I'm not going to launch into a sales pitch, but I know I've got a good opportunity. If they say yes, do you have any other money that you would like the opportunity to know it's protected from a nursing home in the future? And then again, listen for that answer and circle back around. Inside of the guide, there is a lot more pages telling them everything they need to do. Contact us, find the will. Here's letters to Social Security, to credit card companies, to pension companies to stop pensions. Again, it's a great thing, and every one of our clients have told us how much that they appreciated us thinking enough of them and their family to put this into their home. At the last page, you're going to see I've got a place for notes for them in case they have any questions or something that they want to write down. And then that's it for me, Steve. Any questions from anybody out there on the call? I'd be more than happy to answer them for them.
Well, and you're going to have some. And what I want to do here really quick, if you don't mind, is I'm going to just did launch a poll. So if you have interest in Unity, what I want you to do is hit yes. If you have questions on Unity, go ahead and hit yes to it. Either John or someone from our firm will get in touch with you and answer any questions that you might have. Likely you'll be probably Sandy from our office or Jess or Justin from our office will answer the day-to-day questions. Thank you again for your great work, John. Always a great presentation. Appreciate that. There are a couple of questions here, and so one of them has to do with our experience with Unity. So Unity has been in the funeral trust business for for a minute, for sure. But we just started with Unity about 2 months ago. Our experience with this has been very good, very, very streamlined on the licensing, very streamlined on the business, great to do business with. So if it's a concern of, hey, maybe I've had another experience where it didn't go so quick, Unity turns business around pretty quickly. So we're definitely pleased with that. And that poll should be up. If you take a minute and answer yay or nay, I would sure appreciate it. Let's see what other questions I've got here. Right, are you ready, John?
Sure.
All right. I got to go all the way up to the top. Will you be able to email me? Okay, so this PowerPoint presentation was recorded. Everybody after this event will have the opportunity to review this via a recording of the actual event. You're going to get an email. Just put yes, and you'll get a copy of it. Can this be done with telesales over the phone? So I'm not sure the answer to that. What do you think, John? I mean, certainly the application could be done on a email type format.
Yeah, I would say I don't know that Unity is set up for the telesale. We did have that discussion with them, and I know they are pushing forward with that. But to be quite frank, we just did an application with a client, and it's such a simple application that it's literally can be emailed over to them and sent back to you. It's just not that tough with this policy.
You bet, real quick, and the turnaround is really quick as well.
Yes.
Are plots included in the 15K on the funeral trust?
Whatever was listed on that. Typically, the plot is taken care of outside of that, but you can use the funding to get the plot done.
Got it. We probably have to run something here for Chris, but the question is if at 60 you deposit 15K, what's the death benefit?
Well, so that's going to be that factor of the 0.05, and I'm going to stress this again. It's not about you can get a bigger death benefit doing a traditional single premium life. You just can't get the protection. So the bump is going to be relatively small on this, but again, you're just putting it away for the death benefit to pay for those funeral costs. I hope that answers his question.
Yeah, I think that does. John, so a couple questions on just your overall experience in the funeral and estate trust marketplace. So I know you talked a little bit about that during the course of the webinar, but how long have you been writing the funeral and estate trusts, and what kind of assistance have you gotten? I know you've used some other folks for Medicaid planning. So give us a little background on your experience in the funeral and estate trust business, just as a general rule.
Yeah, so I basically had a mentor that showed me this 14 years ago, and again, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even understand it, to be quite frank. But I started learning it and implementing it in our business, and again, I think probably the biggest thing that hit home for me was when my dad died. And when my dad died, and I found myself as his son sitting in there, not knowing any of that information, I realized that what we were doing was really good for our clients. I've done many of the estate planning trusts for clients who are just looking to have that money protected after a 5-year period. I would say if you have an elder law attorney that you have a relationship with, or one you don't, but they're in the elder law business, certainly introduce yourself to them and let them know that, hey, I'm in this business. I can help you. If you need to get money off the table, we have access to a funeral trust. And again, it's a true story with the attorney down the street. He will call and ask us that from time to time to come down and write deals for him when he's doing that Medicaid planning.
That poll, by the way, is still up. If you want to let us know if you have no interest, there's just a few of you that haven't voted yet. If you have no interest, put no. If you have interest, you want to chat with us, or you want us to get you appointed with Unity, hit yes on that poll. And so, John, how did you build that relationship? Do you have just one good relationship with an estate planning attorney, or do you have a couple that you work with?
Yeah, well, really, I have the one here because when I opened my second office, he actually was in the same office complex.
Mhm.
So I just got to know him. I'd stop in and talk to him, and we just started chatting. He asked me what I did. I told him what I did, and then I told him some of the products that we used as far as people protecting money. He said, "Hey, I'd like to learn more about that. I don't have a go-to guy for that." And I will say this too: he hasn't just referred me people for the funeral trust. He has referred us, people who just have assets that don't have an advisor that want to
Oh,
talk to
sure.
somebody.
Hmm.
So really it was just a good conversation and getting to know him a little bit. And then from that point, that relationship now has been 6 years.
Nice, nice. So Thomas has a question about working directly with funeral homes, and if this product can be used, or if you get referrals from funeral homes to come in and write these type products. Have you ever worked the funeral home market to try and gain additional referrals?
I have not, but Thomas, I will tell you that's a great question because in speaking with the top people at Unity, that was my question to them. Was, what if we have a funeral home? Can we get in that side? And he said that there is opportunity for that. So that's something that if you have a funeral home that maybe doesn't have a somebody they're using to hold funds for that, that's certainly something that I'm sure that Unity would want to talk to you about.
You bet. So Mark is referenced a situation he ran into some years ago where a funeral home had gone bankrupt and people had given money to the funeral home. Certainly, we're working with insurance companies, highly regulated industry. That's almost like a selling point for us, isn't it?
It is, and I always, and I didn't on this for the sake of time, but if you get on your Google machine and just put funeral homes who have misappropriated prepaid funds, you're going to find those aren't funds that were held with an insurance company. Those were
Right.
funds the funeral home was holding. And so when you do it directly with a funeral home, and look, not all funeral homes are bad, but there are cases where they misappropriate funds. There's cases where they go out of business. There's cases where they pass it to the next generation and they run it into the ground. There's
Mhm.
cases where they get sold and you don't like the new funeral people. With this, you're in control
Yeah,
with
that's
the
a beautiful
funeral
thing.
trust.
Yep.
Yes.
Here's a question from Steve. He wants to know where you keep your Google machine.
That's funny.
I think there's still a couple folks that haven't voted. Sometimes what happens, and I know this from a technical reason or whatever, if you're not able to vote, but you still have interest or you want to talk with somebody, don't hesitate to give us a call here at the office. It's 800-255-5055. I say that because I'm getting ready to close that poll up. I don't see any more questions out there, although I want to take one quick last look because I don't want to miss any. Okay, I think we got everybody. But if you think of a question afterwards, obviously, and you want to chat with us, glad to have that conversation. We got some people with some really high levels of expertise around these types of products. So we'd love to help you and answer any questions that you have. That 800-255-5055. If you meant to vote and you didn't, or you want to get more information, just simply, again, give us a call at that number. Thank you for joining us, everybody. I know here we are. We're sitting on a Thursday at most parts of the country 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and you've taken some time out for us. We have a lot of bias towards people wanting to learn more to grow their business and help their clients. So whatever we can do to help you, by all means, let us know. A big group here today. Thank you all for joining us. John, I want to take a minute. Thank you. I know you have clients that you're looking to see and plenty of other things to do, and I appreciate you taking the time out from your busy schedule in the middle of the day as well. We appreciate it here at IAMS. We appreciate it on behalf of ourselves and on behalf of our producers. Thanks for taking a few minutes with us.
Thanks, Steve.
You betcha. Everybody have a great finish to their day. Looking forward to a great finish to our sales week. Whatever we can do to help, give us a call, and thank you for your time.